Jay here, Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. You know what to do by now. Get involved in the comments and the chat. We're live. I'm going to be talking about Manchester United striker situation. It looks like there could be some outgoings and incomings in the summer. So let's find out what is going on there. But first of all, let's see who's in the chat already. Let's just get into it. Brian Casey says, morning everyone. Jacoya Trot says, morning all. Ed, morning to the king of Eccles. I'll take that, Monica. Santa Not says, morning. Great to see everyone. Also, Brian Casey says, what a time to be alive. City on the brink of expulsion. Liverpool and Chelsea battling over 10th place. Yeah, can we just pause for a minute? We did a video on it yesterday, me and McCullough, on Uncensored, when the news broke that City could be in the mud. And it was hilarious. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this FFP stuff, these breaches they've done going back about 12 years, whatever it is. Maybe they do get a points deduction. Maybe they get relegated. Maybe they get a transfer ban. Maybe they have to give all those titles back or whatever. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe they get a slap on the wrist and a fine. But it's pretty funny, isn't it? It's just watching all these stories coming out and seeing a lot of City fans just absolutely losing their minds. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Right, let's talk about United's striker situation. We've got a couple of stories to get through. First of all, a potential outgoing. You've got United make decision on Anthony Martial. This is in the Manchester Evening News. And it says here, United are aiming to sell Anthony Martial amid plans to sign a new long-term striker, which I'll get to in a minute. Yeah, you can see the story there. I kind of touched on this yesterday in my news, where you've got Harry Maguire, Alex Telles, I think Donny van der Beek is also on the list. There's a load of players. I think there's about 6 players in total that United are looking to offload, including Anthony Martial. Now, I like Tony M. I do. I think he's a very talented player. He scored some great goals for us. He scored some important goals for us. You know, you think about the semi-final against Everton a few years back. The problem is you can't rely on him. That's the issue. It says it there on that article. He's missed 20 of United's 34 games this season. Now, he might be the best player in the world, but if he's only playing less than half the games for you, can you rely on him? And what do you do when you're looking for a striker? Do you say, come sign for United, and you're going to play, you know, understudy to someone who plays half the games? No. You're going to go out and get a striker. You want to go out and get someone who can lead that line and get you loads of goals. So I just don't think you're going to get someone who can do that, who's going to be happy to sort of be rotated with Anthony Martial. Whoever comes in is going to have to be the main man, and I don't know if Anthony Martial would be happy with that himself. It says there he's under contract until 2024, and United have the option of an additional year. So this summer is the best time to move him on. It's just one of those, isn't it? It's unfortunate, and I thought this season after the summer he was going to have a good season for us. I really did. He looked like he fitted into Ten Hag's system. Him, Sancho and Rashford were linking up well in the pre-season. And what's happened? The season got underway, injury after injury after injury. When he featured, he got some goals. His goal-scoring record per minute is fantastic this season. But he keeps getting injury. He keeps getting injuries. And you look at what's happened with Marcus Rashford, who's flying, playing loads of games, scoring loads of goals, just helping Manchester United pick up points and go through in the cup rounds as well. And it's like the opposite almost of Anthony Martial, who can barely play one game without getting injured, and you just can't rely on him. And you look at Wout Weghorst. For me, I like Wout Weghorst. I think he's a decent player, but he's very much a stopgap for me. And he might change. He might score 20 goals between now and the end of the season, and everyone's clamouring for him to be signed permanently. But I get the impression this is a striker who, you know, he feels like a stopgap. You know, when you're watching him, you think he's a good player. He's not elite. He's not in the same bracket as your Osimhens, your Vlahovic's, your Harry Kanes. He's a very good striker who's, you know, probably good for a few months at Manchester United before he moves on. So I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Martial did move on in the summer, and I'd wish him well. I don't think there's any animosity there. I just think it's probably best for all concerned, unless something crazy happens between now and the end of the season. Jay Frisconi's in the chat says, good morning, Jay. Let's hope United gets new owners and Eric Ten Hag gets his striker targets. So Alex Ferguson always says strikers are match winners. If we can equip our manager and who he wants, the sky's the limit. Listen, I think you give Ten Hag the tools. You know, was it Churchill that said, give us the tools and we'll finish the job? You give Ten Hag the tools and he'll finish the job. Seriously. He's doing very, very well this season, and we're lacking a striker, really, aren't we? I know we've got Weghorst and we've got Martial, but we've not got an elite striker, and yet we're still doing really well. And I think if we do go big in the summer and we do bring in some players and the right sort of players, I think Eric Ten Hag could get us challenging for the very, very top honours. Clippers Nation says City is a joke, and then he says, honestly, I agree. Hit that like button. Ira Schulman says, it says Martial was never the answer. Brian Casey says he only came back for one game, scored, but now he's injured again. It's just like every time he comes back into the team, he does something that's good. You think, oh yeah, Martial, great. And then the next game, why is he not in the squad? Oh, he's picked up a knock in training. Or he picked up an injury and was in the warm-up against Everton, started the game and had to come off. Like, dude, what's going on, man? It's just sad to see. Ed says Martial's broken, time to move on. Yeah, it does feel like that. Should we talk about Harry Kane? Harry Kane, this is just an evolving, changing, moving, fluid story, this. You can see there, it says Tottenham make Kane decision in inverted commas. According to a report in the Times, Tottenham Hotspur are adamant that they will not sell Harry Kane to a direct Premier League rival this summer. Now, I'm not questioning the Times report, and the Times have got some good football writers. We've had a lot of them on this channel. I still think that this could go either way. I don't think that the fact that Tottenham are adamant means nothing. I think he's not got that long left on his contract. If they do want to cash in on him, they're probably going to have to do it this summer if they want to get decent money. And I think they can get decent money for him, and I expect that to happen. Sorry, I shouldn't say I expect it to happen. I think there's a good chance it could happen. I don't think it's set in stone that they'll go, no, he's going nowhere. We're keeping him. Because he's already sort of got a little bit disgruntled, didn't he? When they wouldn't sell him to City. Do you remember? Was it last season or this last summer? Or the summer before, sorry. Where I think he did not turn up for training at one point. So he obviously wasn't just going, okay, you're not selling me, that's fine. If it happens again, then it might become unmanageable there for Antonio Conte or whichever manager is there in the summer, because I won't be surprised if Conte moves on, to be honest with you. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the Harry Kane situation. It's one to keep an eye on. United have been linked with Harry Kane on and off for about a decade. I think when he was a young striker breaking through, and he started to do bits, we were linked with him. More recently, it looked like I said earlier, he was going to go to Manchester City. That didn't happen. Is he going to stay at Spurs? He might do, He might. I don't think it's 100% that he'll leave, because I think he's the top scorer there now, the all-time top scorer from 267 goals, I think, the other day when he got that goal against City. He's on to break Alan Shearer's record. He might just say, you know what, if I stay here, if I break the record for the most Premier League goals and win that accolade, that makes up for not winning a trophy, and I can live with that and not having any medals, because I'll have a World Cup Golden Boot and I'll have a greatest or most prolific striker ever in the Premier League award as well, if that is an award, but you know what I mean. So I don't know, because people just say, oh, he's going to move, he'll want to move to win trophies. And also, let's not forget, you could move to somewhere. He's 20, he's going to be 30, I think, by the next transfer window. You could move to somewhere, excuse me. Sorry about that. Do you remember when Paul Pogba did that tweet when he was like, are you going to do a sneeze when COVID was a thing? Do that, and everyone was like, well, he didn't do it. Whoever his media team did it, and everyone was laying into him saying, why has he done that? I still remember that when I'm sneezing. Anyway, I digress. Harry Kane could say, right, I'm going to go to United because I want trophies. Now, I think we will win trophies, but it's not guaranteed. You can't say there's a guarantee there. I think City were probably the most guaranteed trophy winners you could have had. And that was last season or the season before. This season, even they're not looking definite for trophies. So there's no sort of where you can go, if I move to this club, I will 100% get trophies. It's likely, if he comes to United, I think he will. But it's not guaranteed. So he might look at it and go, stay at Spurs, become like the all-time greatest Premier League goal scorer and, have a statue outside their stadium, or move to United or wherever and take the chance. I'd like to see him United. I think he's a very good player, but we'll have to wait and see. Ed says, let Kane go. Bayern. Brian Casey says, Harry Kane is another stopgap signing at 30 years old. His best years are behind. I don't think he'll leave. Clearly has no ambition to win anything. He would have left years ago if he had. Kay Shimo says, I'd love to see Casado as an understudy to Casemiro. Jack Hudson says, Martial will end up at Spurs. Wouldn't surprise me that. Hit that like button. There's almost 900 people watching. We haven't got to 100 likes. Let's get to 200 likes. Come on. Hit the like button if you think it's funny that Manchester City are in the doghouse. Should we talk about Dusan Vlahovic? Now, we've been linked with this guy for quite some time here, and you can see there's a report there in the Manchester Evening News that has come from Italy and Juve News. It says United are braced for competition for Arsenal, or from Arsenal, sorry, to sign Juventus striker Dusan Vlahovic. That's according to reports from Italy. United are open to selling Martial, which I mentioned earlier, amid their search for a new forward to lead the attacking line. But will Vlahovic be that man? He signed for Juve from Fiorentina last January and has scored 16 goals in 38 games for them. His would-be fee has been mooted at around 70 million quid. Now, this guy, very talented, 23 years old, which sounds weird, but he's a good age, isn't it? It's like you've got a little bit of experience. You're not a kid, but you're still young. And scored goals at Fiorentina and has scored goals for Juve. And obviously, Juve have got their own problems. They're getting a 15-point deduction or whatever it is. They've been in all sorts of problems with the rule breaking they've been involved with. So there's a chance he'll leave, but they're not going to take pennies for him. They're going to want money for him. Would you have him at Manchester United? Get involved in the chat. Would you have him? Do you think he'll come? Those are the two questions I'm asking you guys. Let me know. Drip says, Juve's in the mud, bring in Vlahovic. Ramos says, Vlahovic and Valverde. Fat4 says, hi Jay, hope you're doing well today. How are you feeling about City? A disgrace, a cheat. Wouldn't it be nice if we get the 3 titles that was owed to Fergie, Jose and Ole? It's a Duck says 70 million for Vlahovic would be a steal. He is class. I was gutted when we missed out on him to Juve. Ed says yes to both. RC says Vlahovic is a gun. Alahi says Vlahovic is the guy we should 100% be going for. UK Strain says Harry Kane next season. Jermaine Royce says City's in the mud, get Haaland. So he thinks we can get Haaland. C. Jones says, morning, Jay. I still like Jonathan David. I think he would be reasonably priced and grow into a real top striker. Easy peasy. On the other hand, says, all in for Osimhen. So, sort of, bit of a mixed bag there. Some people wanting Osimhen, some people wanting Vlahovic. Ramos says, if Jude goes to Real, we should go for Valverde. That's another story altogether. I'm a bit worried about where Jude Bellingham's going to go this summer. I'm hoping he's not going to end up going to one of our rivals because I think he's a very, very good young player. Should we talk about Victor Osimhen then? The sort of the final cog in this triumvirate of United transfer links. It says here, Manchester United are ready to launch a 107 million summer bid for Napoli star Victor Osimhen as Red Devils boss Ten Hag seeks to solve his striker crisis by landing the Serie A top scorer. The thing I like about Victor Osimhen, he doesn't just score goals, he scores some crackers, doesn't he, as well? And he's in a very good bit of form. The only question about Victor Osimhen is his injury record. It's not abysmal, but it's not great. And he likes to sort of stick his head in his foot in, and he's a very sort of physical type of player at times, which can help him get to some of the goals he gets. And it's a bit of a crowd pleaser, but can also means he gets knocks and bumps and stuff and can get himself injured. I'm just looking here at his appearances. So last season he made 32 appearances in all competitions. It's not great, is it? It's all right. The season before 30. That's your concern. If you're playing week in, week out, you're hitting 40 odd, aren't you, at least? So he's missed a few games. This season, though, his goal scoring record is unreal. 17 games in Serie A, 16 goals. You can't argue that, can you? And if you look as well at his age, he's 24. So again, he's that sort of age where he's not a kid, but he's still quite young. So does he fit the bill? Let me know what you think. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Can't see Napoli agree to 107 million, to be honest. They don't let players go easily, says Richard. Is that not his buyout clause, or am I just imagining that? There was talk one that they set that as a price, or that might be a buyout clause. I know they paid a lot for him, didn't they? I think he was the most expensive African player of all time when he was transferred from Lille to Napoli. So they will want big money for him. There's no doubt about it. If you pay, I think it was 70 rising to 80 for someone, and then they smash it, you're not going to let him go for pennies. But I think there was a talk of 107. Producer Callum and me saying £107 million buyout clause. It's a lot of money, don't forget that. That makes you one of the most expensive players in history. Not many players go for over 100 million quid. So it is a hefty chunk of change. And also, you know, yes, he's done well at Napoli, and there's a good chance. I mean, I think they're 13 points clear. He'll win him the Scudetto, but it's not like since he's arrived, everything's been rosy. Since he's arrived, he has had a couple of injuries. So I think 107 million makes a lot of sense all round. Let us know what you think. Do you want to see him at Old Trafford? Is he the player for you? Would you rather see Dusan Vlahovic? Would you rather see Harry Kane? Would you rather see us stick with Anthony Martial? Alex Bellon says, what do you think the punishment for City should be, Jay? I think Manchester City should have to replay the game against QPR from 2012, but without any of the players they paid for. So they can only use academy graduates. Yeah. And that's what they should do. I think that would be fair. And while they're at it, they can replay the game against us as well. Yeah, they had a few weeks earlier. I don't know what this punishment's going to be. I think if they've broken rules, and if the rules are that you have breached these rules, and if the sort of punishment is you get a points deduction for doing it, or you can even get relegated, then so be it. You know, I'm certainly not going to lose any sleep about City getting punished for breaking rules. So, yeah, I think that you just keep it fair. You looked at what's happened with other clubs. Derby spent money they shouldn't have done. What happened to them? What was it, 15-point deduction or something stupid? Wayne Rooney barely, he didn't keep him up, but they barely kept the club going. At one point, I think Rooney was paying players out of his own pocket. Other clubs have been punished. Other clubs have been relegated. Other clubs have had points deductions. So, in the interest of fairness, I'm not just saying this because I'm a United fan, but everyone should have the same treatment, whether you're Manchester City or Derby County or you're whoever. It should be the same. So whatever rules they've broken, if they have broken them, then the punishment should be what it would be for anyone else. Han Long says 30 points deductions. Mossan 33R says remove City, remove their cheated history, give titles to us, give us money we lost. Jermaine Reuters says, I think a 90-point deduction is fair. Brian Casey said, should be demoted to League 2 and have all their titles stripped. The titles one's a weird one. I personally don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I just think, I get it. I understand why people are like, you know what, they should have the titles took from him. But I just don't think it will happen. I think the Premier League are basically going, okay, then the last, 10 years of the Premier League, it's almost been a mockery, hasn't it? Like, those games we played didn't mean anything. And I don't know whether the Premier League would be willing, or FA, whoever it is, would be willing to do that. Andrew Mateus says, nothing will happen with City because the Sheikh will just give a donation to the Premier League. Chanlon86 says, morning, Jay. Bernardino says, Bury FC got kicked out of the league, FFS. Bury FC stopped being a club, didn't they? They had to start again, I think. I'm pretty sure. And they had awful owner, what happened to that club. It was such a shame. Santa Not says, don't think so either. Or if they get stripped of titles, those seasons would be declared null. Yeah. I mean, it's a right mess, isn't it? And also, this investigation has been going on for a long time. Is it 4 years investigating? And the investigation goes back, they've been looking into what's been going on back to 2010, I think it is. So they've proper done it. Eric Ten Hag will find the right striker for us, or Stiausen will, says Glenn F. I don't know about the second part of that sentence, Glenn. Patrick Z. Falkper says 20 points deduction. Neil 04 says Osimhen is another Lukaku and Vlahovic is Nunes 2.0. They are not made for ELP. I think the Osimhen one's a bit harsh. I think they're both a bit harsh. Nunes is not really doing that well, is it? Lukaku struggled at Manchester United. I know his numbers were okay. Was it 42 goals in 96 games, which on paper looks good, but he'd go 10 games and score 9 goals and then go another 10 games without scoring. Also, his record against the top 6 was terrible. And some of his performances in the big games were, let's be honest, abysmal. So, yeah, it's always a weird one with Lukaku because I've always seen people sort of go, look at his numbers, look what he did, it's not that bad. But you have to scratch beneath the surface. Drip says Lukaku for us, face palm. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. We've got loads of videos coming up. We've got videos as well that we've done. If you want to see our reaction to what happened with City, you can check out the video me and McCall did, Uncensored. It was a live video where the news had just broke. There's also the Paddock podcast yesterday with myself, Joe Smith, and Stephen Howson. So make sure you check out that. We'll have a preview coming up soon as well for the Leeds game. We all hate Leeds. Leeds, obviously, on Wednesday night in the Premier League. They've got a new manager. Will they get a new manager bounce? I don't think so, but we'll see. I've been Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.